folks, I figured I'd go ahead and do another audio since there's no video on this. Figure I'd just make this one for everybody. I mean everybody. Very inclusive sort of thing. Kings and queens and Federation ambassadors and good cops, crooked cops, everybody. People that are in a prison of their own making, and people who are broke free, and people who are maybe being suppressed by some horrible little aliens, maybe. Time travelers that lost their way, or time travelers that never came back. Time travelers that somebody's still waiting on their ship to come in. Um, I thought it was Sunday because I seen this girl at the store last night, and bought her something. And then I came home and had an interesting evening, kind of party like I always do. And went to sleep and slept good. Played music first time in ages. I was able to kind of get a little bit of music flowing, taking everybody home with me. I was kind of thinking, well, I might have to get up and clean this house. It's got Sunday, so I woke up and I was like, man, I did not get enough sleep. Did not get enough sleep. Like, I only looked, I was like, man, it's already 8 a.m. Like, I had 4 hours of tops. I looked at the date and I said, wow, that's pretty cool. I hear about all these. There was this British cop that had a lot of missing time. And I thought about, man, I was like, shit, I got like 4 or 5 days missing or something. It's like, what, today's Thursday? Let me see here. Thursday, January 27th, 2022. That's hard to believe, too. It's like, wow, this is already the year 2022. Amazing. I was thinking about this bot that I saw in the chat room, but I don't worry about them bots and trolls. Just delete their asses. Quit looking up what they want me to look up. Got no books on what they're looking into. Outdated, some kind of outdated technology from the 70s. It's like, good luck with that, buddy. You and your freaking metaverse or whatever. Think about this rocket I seen get blown up by a drone. People thinking, oh, it's a UFO, it's aliens or something. I was like, well, how do you know it's not an angel? What if it's just some angel said, hey, we don't want that particular type of satellite up here. And send the good guys. Don't send the creepy old punk. And of course, this was last night. Oh, I'm sorry, about 4 days ago in the middle of the night. Anyhow, this conversation was going on. I was listening in a little bit, kind of eavesdropping, which you're not supposed to do. Not a good thing to do. You might hear something you didn't really want to hear. Sure enough, I heard somebody in the background kind of go, oh, 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 ah, like screaming in torture and pain, like that. That poor dude. I just had a vision in my mind of somebody I used to know named Mark sitting in a dorm room, at some highfalutin university and thinking he's God, which I know a lot of us geeks used to think we were gods, until we actually did become gods and had millions and millions of dollars. I guess I just missed that ship. Didn't catch it when the whistle was blown or the bell was rung. I didn't quite make it. I was following the other bell, the camping bell. Beans are ready, come and get it. Bang, 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 bang. Or, on a ranch or something. Like a a skinwalker just dancing around pretending to be somebody else. But it's been a really fun journey following my bliss, like Joseph Campbell, who was a famous philosopher. Where I come, where the planet I come from, it was we used to have this famous philosopher named Joseph Campbell. Anyhow, enough crazy man talk. So I was thinking Sunday, I better go ahead and try to get in this church here a little bit. And man, that was the best church service ever. Seen this young man living life, freaking tripping the walls of the graveyard and looking at these really cool sculptures and graves that some idiot said we're gonna concrete over the top of this grave. Make sure in case that idiot just steps right on top, walks in. You're not supposed to walk over a grave. That's disrespecting the dead. I went to go see a graveyard one time with this beautiful, I say beautiful young woman because that's the way I still see her and remember her. Anyhow, it was, I'm thinking I'm just walking along following her, kind of, just kind of going by her lead a little bit, trying to just sort of be there to protect her in whatever form or fashion. Widows and orphans and all that, and I stepped right on her son's grave. Boy, if looks could kill, I thought this woman would have just ripped my head clean off right there like some kind of Bigfoot that was pissed off about folks digging around his pappy's grave. You gotta be careful of things like that. I mean, if I was, let's say, if I was a space traveler, if you could theoretically get to the moon, like, I mean, everybody knows we can't. There's no way you could actually get to the moon. This is some kind of, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio flick or something, or some producer. Well, that producer's name, Frank Zappa, or Leonardo Zappa or something, or Da Vinci or something. I don't know, like that. Coincidentally, I have a homemade. I have my own sort of copy. What do you call it? Hoax? No, it's not a hoax. It's what do you call that when you do an impression of somebody else's art, but not trying to pass it off as real? Yeah, when you pass it off as real, these artists that used to go around do fake Picassos and fake Da Vinci's and stuff. I don't know. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but a counterfeit. That's what it is. A counterfeit. So it's really hard to do a good counterfeit, like the lost Van Gogh painting or something. Guy that chopped his own ear off, I think. Got tired of hearing things he didn't want to hear, maybe. Um, so I'm gonna try to tell you some things you might like to hear. Uh, Especially like the people who are into the paranormal. Okay, so this is a cool story. Those of you that are not into paranormal, get out right now. Go do something else. Or watch another channel. Don't listen to my videos. Don't eavesdrop on my videos. Don't spy on my house. It might be kind of haunted a little bit. So anyhow, as far as I know, I'm the only ghost here in this particular house. Uh, so I don't even remember what was on my mind that day. I just know that I was feeling sort of tense, and all of a sudden, just like, I mean, right when I looked at the painting of Da Vinci, it literally jumped off the wall. I'd say, I mean, it was hooked on a pretty good nail in the wall, stout nail, firmly driven into the wall by some carpenter person, and it fell. It just, it kind of just came out a little bit and fell straight down. Like how, I didn't really see it come out. I just all of a sudden, when I seen it moving, of course that caught my eye. Predator is, I mean, the prey is always on alert if there's a predator around, and so it just sort of, I mean, caught my attention, and I seen it fall and hit the ground. Oh shit! Well, it's okay. I'll get it later. Just this bouncy old house. I probably just shook it off the wall, stomping around too hard, which kind of made me think of that story about the time I rode out there to the cemetery on a really cool highway. I made a video once upon a time about this little road trip I did with my old buddy Kenneth. And so, long story short, like the very next day, I'm watching this one of my favorite paranormal channels is about this. Oh, if I could think of her name now, Jade or something like that. This jaded woman, or was jaded. She's sort of. I feel like she's kind of coming to her senses and doing some really interesting work, trying to help people and record her ideas and write it down, and she could be a benefit to the community for sure. The virtual online community, minus the bugs and creepy creepy punks that are freaking out and losing their shit because they don't know what the hell's going on. Nobody knows what's going on, man. That's all I can say. I don't think anybody really has much of a clue. But this young man seems to know kind of what's up, and he was talking about going down to Pensacola, Florida. I thought, man, that's where my old buddy Lil John, somewhere down around that area, close by. And I thought that would be so cool, just get a motorbike from good old Detroit, and I mean, gas ain't that high now. It's going up, but that's just the way it goes. I mean, shit, them poor Russians got to earn a living too, right? That's pretty much all they got of value over in Russia is their oil and stuff. Same goes for the crown prince. I thought, man, them poor people, they've been struggling for centuries and centuries and under domination for so dang long. They probably wouldn't even know how to act if they had any kind of liberty or democracy there. So I just thought, well, I'm gonna quit fretting over all this other little minor local differences and things, and focus on getting to church on time. So anyhow, I was tuning that, and that painting just jumping off the wall, and then it might not have been her channel, it might have been another sort of paranormal channel where this woman was doing a reading, Grey Wolf, I think her name was, or something like that. Just a, I don't go stalking her and trolling her just because I mentioned her name. Um, I don't really know this person in the real world, but, or again, the world I come from. I can't necessarily say I'm in the same world that you're in right now. Anyhow, because time is very relative too. It's a frame of reference. So just as that, using it as sort of as a frame of reference, location might be correct, but the names have been changed to protect the guilty. uh, yeah, like they were talking about it, and she said, well, one indication might be, it might be the spirit of a loved one or a deceased loved one, and oftentimes it'll be a portrait on the wall will just fall off or something, or fall off the wall. And I thought, wow, that just literally happened to me. You know, I mean, I literally, like, the nail was still there, so a few days later I went ahead and just picked it up and hung it back on the nail. And it ain't fell again, it ain't jumped off the wall again. You know, objects don't just jump off the wall magically by themselves, do they? Well, do they? I saw something I can't explain. Who, how, what did it? Who did it? Why it was done? Sort of a mind. I don't use the F word, but sort of a mind screwing going on there. But I've gotten to where I just sort of blow these things off as that it's just an angel trying to give me a hint, set me straight, or alert me to, hey, this person maybe needs more special attention, maybe needs more funding or something. Uh, how do you get the funds delivered to this woman? Joyzy, she says coffee. It's kind of cool. So then I started thinking about this ex-girlfriend of mine. One of many, but probably the best of them all, in my opinion. Fuck, I said we're gonna cry. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, best one of them all. I was saying this ex-girlfriend, and probably chased her longer than any of the others before. Like a stalker, big hunter man and his prey. Fortunately, I got a trained predator right here, my big black cat, monkey girl. She's like a black panther. She's got ears that can sense danger from quite a ways off. So anytime I see her ears pop up, she points in the right direction too. So nice to have a good navigator there. That was a good movie, The Navigator. Sort of like a navicube or something. Just these limited little three dimensions. It's easy to get lost when you only have three dimensions: up, down, left, right, or straight forward. Fuck it if you ain't going in the right one of the infinite possibilities of a circle. Maybe eventually they could have some kind of a computer and cameras and have a whole constellation that won't let anything get out or in and looks in all directions. But what about that fourth direction? That fourth dimension? We'll get into that maybe in some other audio. Uh, Ghosts and goblins and angels shooting down rockets that got a really nasty satanic kind of satellite on board. Since Joe Rogan podcast has overheard that demon screaming in agony. We were all laughing and laughing. Oh man, we laughed so hard. That demon was over here, and what we were saying, he was talking about this really good painting too. Where did he say that painting was? Talking about these anomaly files. And I was like, well, if I had an open invitation, when in Rome, do as the Romans, just march in there and try to steal all the shit out of the museum. But I thought, well, what if I had an invitation? A lot of things I'd like to see, what being near Rome, go in there and meet some really cool old priests and things. Because I was raised Catholic. I never got hurt by the Father Moore there. That seemed like a pretty good man. Not like that lost Boy Scout that was trying to do some serious damage to me, and pretty much did. Cause I want to say I don't love Jesus, don't love God, don't love my country, don't love America. Why? Just because I didn't want to let him do his horrible things to me? So, yeah, shout out to old Father Moore, or wherever he's up in the, gone to the stars now, probably like my daddy. All them sailors on that USS Missouri, too, probably. But not digging around history anymore, not looking at all these lost time and missing British cops and things like that, or missing time, missing sailors and things like that, and missing children. Well, yeah, I thought about her because I seen like somebody put concrete over the top of these graves, and I thought, why would they want to do that? You know, like that's how old mobsters used to try to like hide Jimmy Hoffa's body and things like that. Like, how in the world? Sometime there's gonna be some archaeologists gonna be digging around. They're like, man, what? Why they used to stick these little concrete wires in here? It's some kind of battery, or it's a tomb. Oh, everything's a tomb to these archaeologists, and they have no concept that there might have been some kind of other civilization before. But like I said, it might offend some people's religious beliefs to think the world's only it's flat and it's only 2,000 years old or something, 400 years old or whatever. Oh, the world we just got here, whatever. But so I don't want to offend any people's religious beliefs, but I just have it. This is science fiction, like so you could imagine maybe this guy sleeps for 5,000 years and climbs out of his thing underground, and the first people said they came out of the ground. That's all they know. And nobody created them. They didn't spontaneously evolve out of magma and turn into some kind of electrical glowing jellyfish from Mars or nothing like that. They don't go attack the capital of my nation, my brother's nation. No, it was just a regular church service, but a nice, informal, close knit, basically secure type of church. And reasonably secure church, I suppose. Um, and got to thinking about getting a motorbike, and I started feeling optimistic again, just sort of looking forward to the future, even though I can't really do too much to uh, help this kid. We'll just call him Archangel Michael instead of saying it's just some kid. You know, I felt like at least one of them's really under some bad influences, and he keeps having these Anunnaki dudes just showing up out of the blue, and maybe that's freaking him out or pissing him off. It might piss him off at some point, so I would back off from trying anything like that on dude. But yeah, he just keeps coming across these Anunnaki. Just wanting to set him straight, but he may also be getting influenced by other people that are, just because I don't like the direction they're going. It's too bifurcated or digital. It's like you need to add that third number in there. You do live in a 3D world, supposedly. So go ahead and add that third dimension in there, and pretty soon you'll have a Motown band. Uh, that got me thinking about this old blues song. It's a remake of a remake of a remake. That's what I was thinking. Is some old black guy, Otis Redding or something. I don't know. It wasn't Otis Redding. I don't know. Mike Johnson, something like this. I don't know what his name was. Anyhow, it's called Little Red Rooster. And my favorite band, The Doors, did a remake of Little Red Rooster. And I thought, well, I'd like to make a third remake of Little Red Rooster and just sort of turn this crappy movie away from the cats back towards a more upwardly direction. That was another good movie by Disney, Up. I think it was Disney. I'm a huge Star Wars fan too. Like how do you merge the Star Wars and Star Trek worlds, bring them together? That'd be pretty cool. Communication between the Star Trek and the Disney people. I'd love to see that happen. Some kind of a united federation of planets or nations or whatever, peoples and races and dimensions. Einstein's old dream of unified field theory because he said he just doesn't believe that God plays dice at all, at all, at all. Shit, for all I know, God might be afraid of flying because that can be scary stuff, man. Even if you know you're in a simulator or a machine on the ground, it's good to stay grounded. Uh, yeah, so the song, it was something like, My little red rooster, baby. You're talking about, well, I got a guy across the street's got a rooster that's probably acts for him like my cat does, you know. Animals can sense, even if they don't, you think, well, that chicken don't have no ears. How can he hear anything, you know? Just go ahead, he ain't hearing nothing. He can see good, you know. Them birds can see from a long way off. They got big eyes. They can see a lot. And you know, and especially if that chicken's way up high, or if it's eagle, they're a really powerful bird too, and they can be up really high. And they've been known to get pretty freaking high, just like me and Lil John used to get pretty fucking high. And I've got pretty low a few times too. It was the chunks, man. It was the chunks. There's only one person out there will know what I'm talking about when I say it was the chunks, man. Well, him and our close knit little circle and trifecta of three amigos. But I was thinking about old Jimmy Carter, the peacemaker, and trying to just bring everybody together under one nice little roof. But you know, at least I figured at least my roof does have a few leaks in there where some sunlight can come through and rain too occasionally. But into every life, some rain must fall. One of my dad's old sayings. And I thought, well, you know, what if me saying all this stuff is the reason somebody was trying to take old man out before I was born, which is not cool. There's other ways of dealing with crazy psych doctors, you know. Send them to a therapist or whatever, you know. Just don't, you know, maybe not send them to go digging up graves in Iraq or somewhere. I wouldn't want to go digging around and stealing shit from a museum. I'm not a jewel thief. That's not my mission in life. I'm not out to steal the Queen's treasure or anything. I was just sort of a communion with God in general. Not generals working for who knows who or who knows what thing. That's what unholy thing. But at the same time, I don't want to smash that crystal ship. Another old Doors song. I'm gonna make a lot of allusions to Doors songs, so if anybody doesn't like that, oh well. Boo! If you don't like it, you don't like the Doors, bite me. I'm a Doors fan, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's the kind of music I like to play. You hate your daddy and he was a Doors fan. That's between you and your daddy. I ain't your daddy, boy. No, I'm just an old crazy artist, writer, inventor type of guy. Well, I used to be an inventor a long time ago. Can't make a living doing that. Go hitting up all your poor friends for cash, and poor old bikers and poor old country white people, and some few fairly wealthy white people too. There's rich and poor. There's like 50 shades of white poor people. I mean, there's 50 shades of poor among white people. They ain't all rich. They're not all privileged. They're not any more privileged than any of the other races that live here around nearby, Native Americans and African Americans and Native African Americans and Native American Americans. I'm American American. French Americans and female reporters, independent reporters. This is what we need. We need more. We need more of the on the ground, hands on type of real humans. We can't trust any robot or computer or patsy, any patsy in his dorm room going, oh, freaking out over this painting. It's like it was just a painting, okay? Jeez, get over it. It was a painting. It looked sort of it did look sort of demonic, you know. It looked sort of like flames, you know, like cool flames on a Harley or something. It looked sort of like, but to me, it looked like a little green man, and he was growing like a stalk of wheat there, or corn, and looked kind of like a little child, like a little feet, a little footses or whatever, and not a big foot, but a little foot. It's a really small, very small environmental footprint on the globe. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a flat Earth with some kind of a laser printed firmament above it or whatever, you know. Some folks down there ain't gonna get it, you know, and might not ever be able to. And I'm sorry about that too, and I just hope they find peace whatever direction they're going in too. So no, it was all about this sort of invisible Holy Spirit, you know, the ghost of the child I never had, or the ghost of the child that should have been, or Ghost of Christmas Past, Charles Dickens, and all this literature, and to be and not to be. Uncollapsed wave functions out there everywhere, and sometimes knock pictures off the wall at just the right time, magically, as in science has no freaking explanation. And if I told anybody, they'd just put me back in a padded cell. So this will be my kind of secret disclosure. Everybody wants disclosure, man. We want disclosure. We want disclosure. Well, some of you might not be able to handle the disclosure. You sure that's what you want? Be careful what you wish for, boy. That's what my old man used to tell me. So I started. I'm gonna start wishing for $1 million then, and quit wishing for to help people or open their eyes or get recognition, get attention. I don't want attention. Nice and quiet here, especially if I want to go outside and enjoy the woods. You know, there's good attention, there's bad attention. Now, some people are getting good attention. I'd ask myself, well, you know, why the angels talking to him and not me? He's just some guy with a kid there, orphans and widows and widowers, maybe. I felt sorry about my ex-wife and wanted to apologize. Anything bad I said about her, that's just a habit, you know, that when guys get together in a bar or something, they don't want to just tell funny jokes or crack on their ex-wife to make them sort of build themselves up. But nobody, you know, nobody should be trying to build himself up by insulting their big brother or their little brother. Either one, either way, we got to knock that shit out of the bag and kick it out. So, and I don't think they have too much more of that violent MMA shit in heaven. You know, they might have it in certain places of heaven, some little corners of heaven that might still have MMA and other types of battles of the stars or battle of the sexes. And that was an old TV show I liked from the 70s. At some point, I have to start making videos like my favorite shows from the 1970s or from the 19 whatever, you know. With me, it's going to be my favorite TV shows from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s maybe. Yeah, I might go to the 90s too, you know. I don't know. Just films through history, right? You say, well, do they even exist anymore? It's getting harder and harder to locate these old databases and crystal ships that just get burned up and removed from this universe. Gotta quit smoking these cigars. Jeez, why am I doing this? Well, just to sort of get my mind focused and get back on track here. Took a long enough vacation, I think. Could use a Johnny's Pizza right now. Well, for those of you who don't know, there's two Johnnies. Okay, there's there's the virtual Johnny. This was a guy in a wheelchair, uh, really suffering a whole lot most of the time. But when he smiled, boy, it would break your heart. Hold on a second. All right, get together, John Boy. Man ain't supposed to cry. We all know this. Cowboys don't lose Super Bowls. Uh, Johnny was when he would smile at you, it could just really make you want to cry and empathy for his situation. Although it was more of just a physical thing and not a mental handicap like some of us have. My poor old buddy down there, South Louisiana, hire him somebody. I think he's related to a used to be a famous baseball player, but I cannot remember. I was never a big baseball guy, like I was a Saints fan and never missed a play. I was a Cowboys fan before that, but I remember being a Saints fan before that. Like I was a Saints fan, and my dad converted me to be a Cowboys fan. And then my ex old lady, she might be old now, but I'll just say my ex-wife, this really really beautiful, amazingly sexy woman I was married to. She sort of converted me back to the bright side and turned me into a turned me back into a Saints fan. So I guess I'm easy to flip. That's what they call that in a flip flop. It used to be called a flip flop. It was this digital circuit that we used to build, and then it got easier to use them because they started putting multiple flip flops on a single microchip. So that made it even easier to design with that particular make and model. There's a new sort of experimental gas powered motorbike that I was wanting to try out or buy if I had any cash on me. But yeah, I'd like to get one of those just to give it a test ride and come up with some new stories, instead of just all this kind of war crimes tribunal type of thing. Uh, Johnny, old Johnny. So there's two Johnnies. Back to the story, or what just happened. Revelation of today. The one revelation for today. Not revelations things get deleted, so I wouldn't do plural revelations. Who would waste their time, life, beating on a brick wall, banging their head on a brick wall? Really good Pink Floyd album, by the way. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. Just learn some lead style in the style of this guitarist, Gilmore. Somebody or other Gilmore was the guy's name. Anyhow, I would change my name if I could. Take up some really cool name. Some real princess out there in Woo Land or Space Land or somewhere past Alpha Centauri, maybe. Who knows? Star Trek thing. I'd love to do the Star Trek thing. No more Star Wars. You can feed it, not feed it. I mean, there's hungry people out there that want entertainment too. So shit, yeah, feeding them in a way, you're feeding them manna from heaven. Dang, Disney World is heaven to a little kid. Don't you know that? I remember sitting watching Disney when it first started, um, right around 50 years ago. Probably somewhere around 71, 72, I think, when I was a little kid. Not gonna say how old I was because that's something that's probably gonna get deleted too. My date of birth, because it's some kind of bad bugs trying to run over my, trying to get rid of my knowledge by getting rid of the person that did all the genealogy research and work of keeping them files intact. Some monster out there probing my systems and probing my brain and probing my soul, even trying to get data that just don't exist. They'll never find it. Never in a million years. That's what had me laughing, because I heard them screaming, or one of them just screaming at the top of his lungs. Oh, my plan to do this, he was going along. We thought he was going along, and now he wants to say this. I was like, yeah, I think it's pretty damn good art. I think I used the F word on there too. I was like, man, that's effing good. Looks like a little green man growing up, like children of the corn, like it's a child of Mother Earth, children of the corn. Oh, that dude lost his shit. Talking about natural evolution instead of the panspermia thing, or children of the gods, or something, food of the gods. Either way you want to take it. Well, gods get hungry too, I'm sure, even if they're Roman gods or alien gods or earth gods, earth goddesses or princesses. How do you know it ain't some real prince? That guy that, no telling how he ended up dying. I sure hope it wasn't too bad. It seems like I heard Prince say a story that he had some stalker chick. I'm sorry. He had some fanatical fan who really believed that she was in love with Prince. Somehow just sneak in the house. Like somebody just left the back door of the house wide open. He turns around. He's like, man, this woman just marched right up in here without any warning. Nobody's seen her coming or going. Like, how'd she do that? Going up into I'm sorry, the artist formerly known as Prince. Okay. It seems like I heard him in an interview somewhere on TV back when I used to have a TV. That he had somebody left the door open maybe or something. She just walked clean in, and it kind of freaked him out a little bit. Spooked him, I should say. Yeah, shout out, Spooky. Seemed like a nice guy too. Yeah, I just saw this painting though. Got me thinking about art and everything, my own art. What the heck am I doing here? But that's where I got my own little temple up there, or memorial. It's not a temple. I don't worship Johnny or any images of Johnny. I'm not sitting there worshiping some bloody image of Johnny. nightmare of gore that he went through for real, or his sister. No, same about the widows and orphans and stuff. Well, Johnny and Johnny's Pizza too. And there's two Johnnies. Finished telling that part. So Johnny was the real man, and then Johnny's is a pizza chain that we have down in my part of the world. Best pizza in the world, except maybe tied for first with the Geno's in Chicago. I think it is. Geno's East in Chicago. I think they might have more than one. Um, there's several locations of Johnny's around here too. The one I liked best was Town and Country, is what it was called. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. And that's a good idea too. Really good idea. Instead of trapping innocent souls in a real physical hell, like a black box that could be set on fire at any minute. Thinking about high ground and stuff like that, but got to keep the faith. There are real angels out there or up there, and there's probably some real angels down there or below there or under there. Go, don't go digging for demons. Go digging for angels, or if you're an archaeologist and you really do just want to learn some scientific reality of some kind. You want to know what actually happened in the past. Well, use some lidar or whatever in a less harmful way, and then be respectful how you. But don't go so damn slow. Jeez, the rest of the world is just smoking past you. Don't be just sitting there eking out and doing this, taking 20,000 months to come up with your white paper and freak out some religious people. Don't worry about them religious people freaking out. They can handle the truth, or they'll find their own truth eventually. Look in the mirror. Talk about the mirror next. Okay, paranormal stories. Everybody likes a good ghost story, so let's get back to it. So, going through some more troubling times, just doing my own soul searching. I was like, hey, I don't need anybody to put me in a padded cell and torture me. I can do my own soul searching. Got plenty of tools on hand and plenty of high-tech gear, and don't need it for soul searching. So I go out, and I was having a bad day. Had this encounter with this man. It's obviously his home now, because he's the one that this person chose. No, actually, I'm going to backtrack before I get to this sort of uh, final destination type of thing. Another horror movie. Or it looks scary to me, so I never watched it. But before I get to that, I'm going to backtrack to the whole thing started was like, so the only reason I was at this house hanging out so much, aside from the fact that I started really having fun again and was like, man, this is like home away from home. We're going to party, me and my buddy Johnny, we're going to party, and we're not going to worry about nobody threatening us. We ain't going to worry about no dude pointing a gun in my face. We're not going to worry about none of that. We're going to just go back to having a good time, enjoying some music. Like, this was the only dude that would listen to my experimental, where I was going with trying to, not learn, but just write some new music. So I wanted to write some new music, and my own music. And Johnny was the only person that would listen to it. So that's how Johnny and I became such close friends. Okay? Enough said on that. But how did I get there in the first place? Well, because of her. I had let myself get down really low and depressed, and ran out of rations, man. Like my camp was froze over, and no more food left, no more nothing. It was freaking apocalypse here, the snow apocalypse. And you go door to door, and people just slam the door in your face, or they don't even answer. They just pretend like they're not there. Them black-eyed kids show up, You don't have to answer the door. They have to be invited in. You have to invite those demons in. We can't get in. We don't have the right to just bust up in there unless you give us some sort of authority to go up in there. Or we don't even really have, in some parts of the world, like across the river, I know a community where they don't even allow you to go knocking in the first place. You're not even allowed to go soliciting door to door. But I was going door to door, and nobody was answering the door, and nobody was trying to help me or nothing. So I kind of was hanging out at the corner store, begging like any other bum would beg. This has been an epidemic in recent times here in America. America, just take that A off and just sort of forget about her. That was just hocus pocus. I thought I wanted her. Thought she was the one. This redheaded woman that used to live up in Maine. No, I was thinking about that skit from SNL, Maine Justice, which was funny. It's kind of laughable to me. Uh, I couldn't get much help, and but I couldn't even get anybody to be friendly or smile at me or anything. So I'm walking this one time, and she sees me, and I guess I had met them a couple times before. Um, there's this old painter guy. I'm just gonna change the names, like I said, because I don't want anybody to question these people or threaten them or harass them in any form or fashion. So I just said, we'll just say it was David and Sarah. Old painter guy I used to work with named David, and his wife Sarah, and her brother Johnny. Uh, so I had kind of hung out with. I mean, she's got some other kids, but I was there by the invitation of her son. I didn't even know it. I thought it was my old buddy David that I recognized from my old days of painting. Of course, all those painters I used to work with are dead now. They all died of lung cancer, which that's kind of weird. I'm like, how does like 8 out of 9 painters that I used to work with, these were colleagues, these were not bosses, these were not employees. I used to own my own painting company and did remodeling and stuff too. But uh, these were just guys I'd see up at the Sherwin-Williams store or at the Benjamin Moore store or whatever. And, well, I switched to Benjamin Moore after all them guys I knew from Sherwin-Williams was dropping dead like flies, and flies being sprayed by toxins from the air. Anyhow, long story short, I just assumed I was there at his invitation. I later found out it was her son, the wife's son. And then it was not long after that, well, he up and died, had a heart attack, sudden massive heart failure or something. And accident of some sort, I'm sure. And it hadn't even been a few days, and I mean, I'm still crying over my daddy dying, and just felt abandoned like a helpless kid in the woods, stuck in the snow, barefoot. There I was, barefoot, walking in the cold, just like I was when I was put in that torture chamber. And she smiles at me, hey, how, you need some help, whatever, offered to help. And it was like salvation from the divine Almighty Himself or herself. And I just thought, God save the Queen, God bless America. It wasn't no GD, it wasn't always being angry like a lot of times some people we know was always angry, but no, I just felt saved, I felt blessed. It was just like a miracle. I mean, her husband had just died, and she showed me so much hospitality. that whole entertaining angels unaware. You might not even know what's inside you or down below you. As above, so below. And this whole new age stuff and astrology and all that. I kind of am getting into it. I used to be real critical and say, oh, I don't believe in astrology and all that. And I'm coming on board a little bit. Get on the crazy train somewhat and listen to some Ozzy Osbourne. Mr. Crowley, that was one of my favorites. Or what was that? Yeah, I think it was Mr. Crowley. Was that tune? Uh, so back to the story. I get used to the hospitality and the easy lifestyle, and but I really started getting a bad, guilty conscience, and I'm not gonna let this woman just wait on me hand and foot like I'm some kind of a king. I'm not Elvis. Elvis lives on the other side of town. Um, so I start trying to help around, do dishes, sweep, clean, for letting me use her washer and dryer, and just sort of eye for eye and tooth for tooth kind of thing, and trade or fair balance, balance of powers, and all that kind of stuff. So I want to go ahead and go back in there and if I'm gonna wash clothes and I'm gonna try to do some sweeping or entertain him or something, or entertain Johnny, try to give him some positive advice or ways to deal with what he's going through. But I noticed a lot of times it was just withdrawals he was going through. It was like, man, you got to take that medication on time. If you forget that one in particular, you're going to have some really horrible side effects. So, I remember seeing this woman in there was tried to rip her own ear off. I was thinking about Van Gogh again, uh, trying to rip his own ear off because he thought it was on fire or something. So yeah, not something for little kids and teenagers to be experimenting with and stealing out of their grandmama's cabinet or something. We was talking about ghosts and Bigfoot and stuff like this too, and young dude, well, it's probably an old soul and they just don't know it, but so we'll just say old dude on there at the on there, old dude in church earlier today said something about it's our ancestors, and I was like, it's our wait a minute, I was like, no, I cannot spell this word. I never learned how to spell. Computer wasn't helping me, so I said, yeah, it's our grandparents or great 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 grandparents or something else, and so that was a pretty amazing spiritual experience, I should say. It was very uplifting. It was like so much. Let's just say, hold on, I'll get together in a minute. Let's just say a whole lot of blood got washed off my hands, like old Pontius Pilate, conscientious Pilate, shooting targets that he recognized from a video game from some distant century in 1984. I meant distant in the past, all in the past. But it was really funny watching this podcast. I don't know, Joe Rogan or something like that. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny podcast. And pretty funny seeing this, or hearing, this maybe in my mind was remote viewing this punk in a dorm room or castle or somewhere, or he thinks it's a castle, and it's actually a tomb. Raiders of the Lost Ark, that's another good one. Y'all need to check it out when it arrives at your location. It takes those radio waves a long time to propagate across the time space. But you'll get to Raiders of the Ark Raiders of the Lost Ark, eventually you'll get there and you're going to love it. Just wanted to say, don't forget, keep that one when they come burn the tomb down or whatever, or the fortress, or whatever it is, or warehouses, factories, homes, churches. When we be worrying about no castles. I've seen this freaking space bug spying on a Tower of London or somewhere. I'm pretty sure that ain't where the crown jewels are being kept today, my fellow man, or fellow goons, or Nazis, or whatever they are. And I'd rather be on some lost saucer or down in the land of the lost with two little kids than to help them sorry motherfuckers. So that's it for this one. Thanks for listening.